Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Nothing Like a Good Book. Interesting fellow today. He is the owner-operator of the Worth Saving Ministry. He's a podcast host, which we'll talk about later, for the Freedom Project podcast, which can be seen on YouTube. Yes, very much so. And the YouTube channel. He's a musician as well, a chaplain, and an author. All right. He's also a former co-owner of 717 Communications International. We'll find out what that's about. He's husband to Teresa for 52 years. That's what you call loyalty, both ways. He has 4 children, 7 grandchildren, and 1 great-granddaughter he's very proud of. Well, Joe, your family get-togethers would be pretty exciting and pretty something, wouldn't they? I tell you what.
Well, they've been very big and boisterous in the past. They're a bit less so these days. Kids are growing up and going their own way.
Yeah. Well, it must be fun. It must be good to have all of that. Born in Canada, you reside in a small town in Ontario, Canada. What's that name again?
I'm in Perth, Ontario. It's about an hour from the nation's capital, Ottawa. Little town, about 10,000 people.
Really? What, P-E-R-T-H, Perth?
Perth, just like in Down Under.
Yeah, just like Down Under, way over west in Perth, Western Australia. Great spot. Great spot. Of course, I don't like Easterners, you know what I mean? I'd like to share a critique with the viewers and listeners. Joseph Anthony Weber offers Last Call, which is the name of his book, and we'll get to it, a moving examination of addiction, recovery, and the redeeming power of faith in a profoundly personal and moving story. Now, the book, which was published in December 24, is expected to be both a frightening voyage into the depths of hopelessness and a moving example of spiritual growth and human resiliency. That's pretty good stuff. Joe, this is a novel, in fact, that you wrote, more than 20 years ago as part of your own personal recovery. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, Mark. I've been clean and sober for 24 years. I started writing the book as a form of therapy for myself. I was always a writer, but I only ever wrote when I was hammered or high. And I wanted to see if I could still write. Right. And it was a bit of a cathartic journey for me. I never really had intended for this to be a book for publishing, although I got some good feedback from it, from family members and whatnot, all those years ago, about 20 years ago. Right. But I've recently, in my capacity as a chaplain, become involved with a treatment center, Manny Daniels Center. And right. I wanted to be able to do more than just physically show up and help out there. So I'm hoping that the proceeds of the book will be able to aid in their operational expenses.
In that cause, very much so. Well, the story of your book, Last Call, it is fiction. But the stories in Last Call are an accurate depiction of the places, you can go as addicts, correct?
Absolutely. Alcoholism and addiction are really a deep family disease, and I wanted to kind of break that out in the book. There's a great stigma yet in the world around alcoholism, but this book, its intention was to let people know that there's life after alcoholism, that there's a hope for recovery, that there's a cure for alcoholism and addiction, and it's available and it's there for the taking.
Not easy, but there is a cure.
There is,
if you're determined to be able to do it. I think what makes it so hard is everywhere you down will turn, there's an opportunity to drink.
It's a choice to drink. I make a choice every day not to drink, but that doesn't. It's important to let people know that just because you put the plug in the jug or you put down the drug, the chaos doesn't leave the world. The world we live in is chaotic, and we need to find ways to survive in that world in our own skin.
Right. Yeah. Well, the purpose in writing the book, multifaceted, really, isn't it? Partly to deal with personal issues from your own past, partly to demonstrate there is hope at the end of addiction. There's a lot of addiction in America, isn't there?
There certainly is. I've had
too, right? Canada too.
Sorry?
Canada
too, yeah. I've had the privilege in my life to travel all over the world. addiction isn't, it's non-discriminating. Everywhere I've gone, most of my traveling I did while being actively addicted. And even countries where you would think that there's nowhere to get drugs involved, it's still there.
What is Love Soluble? Tell me about that.
So Love Soluble is a charity that was created by a fellow named Spencer Kell. Spencer was incarcerated with a man named Manny Daniels. Together, they came up with a program that's based on different 12-step groups. It kind of draws together components from a whole different bunch of disciplines in recovery, and they melded it into one program. That's it's a really good program. I like it a lot. Now, Manny and Spencer both got out of jail at the same time. Manny drifted back into his old life, overdosed, and died. Spencer went on to establish the Love Soluble charity. Their goal eventually is to treat men that are coming out of incarceration with many, many different houses. But right now we have the flagship is the Manny Daniels Center. And
right. And that's where you are. And that's what you're trying to do. It's difficult out of incarceration. One is getting work for those that'll give you work and having self-respect. So you don't, go back to alcoholism or any other form of addiction because it's damn well hard to take. So Love Soluble combines many parts collectively into one hybrid model. How long does the actual program last for, Joe?
Well, the program can go anywhere from 3 to 12 months, depending on the complexity of each case and the client's individual needs for treatment. The program, it consists of 5 main components, really. And they look at things like education level. They'll help a guy get his education up, and they'll really work with people. Everyone comes in at a different level. Lots of people have had work while they've been incarcerated in treatment. And so it's a 3 to 12 month program. And it's kind of a well-rounded life skills and addiction program.
I've got another critique here for your book. Joseph Anthony Weber offers Last Call, a moving examination of addiction recovery and the redeeming power of faith. Faith plays a big part, doesn't it? It's in a profoundly personal and moving story. And the book, which was published, as I said, in December 24, is expected to be both a frightening voyage into the depths of hopelessness and a moving example of spiritual growth and human resiliency. All right, condense that for me. Well,
it's not a pretty world, the world of addiction. The story of Last Call, it follows the main character, Tommy Boyle. And it's really a walk between shame and faith throughout this narrative. It's hard to imagine the kind of fear and shame that people live in the world. And I'm hoping in the book to be able to explore those places a bit. It's funny, it's a spiritual book, but it's not a religious book. I had a church group of women that said, we're going to use your book as a book study. And I said, well, there's some pretty hard stuff in my book. I wanted it to be real, but I wanted it to be uplifting at the same time.
Yeah, honest too. I mean, it's not X-rated or anything, is it?
Oh no, it's not X-rated. It's really just a depiction of the life of the addict, and lots of the people in the book are good examples of that.
Okay, so in the book, Last Call chronicles the turbulent life of Tommy Boyle, the main character who's battling the harsh reality of addiction. And you explore the chaotic and frequently tragic moments of Tommy's struggle through, evocative storytelling. And the book tells a story of self-discovery and restoration of faith. See, it's not a religious book, but it's a spiritual book.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's a great distinction, Mark, because, particularly in the world of addicts, when you're dealing with people who are, as I was myself, so broken, lots of people are pretty mad at God when they come to the doors of recovery. Right. So I wanted to show that. So Tommy Boyle in the book, it follows his life. He's spiraling down to a low bottom. We all have a different bottom. Tommy's bottom was very hard and he hit heavy. And he's decided that there's no hope for him. It's a place where lots of us end up as addicts, where we feel the world has just gone gray. There's no color left in the world, and we're full of we've lost.
And we're not just talking alcohol, whether it's spirits, beer, whatever. No. We're talking drugs as well.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. You know, it's for many of us, it's hard to separate the two. But for the world today, the drugs are really playing a hard role on people because it becomes so deadly. So Tommy's story is told through a third party whose name is Joe, who actually, Tommy's decided to make some phone calls to try and bring some peace to family members in his life. And as he's making these calls, he calls a wrong number, basically. And he gets this guy, Joe, and he tells his story to Joe. And Joe is also I don't want to give too much away, but he's an addict. He's really not in the story. He's kind of the narrator. He's at the beginning in the prologue, and he's at the end. Okay. So Tommy lives a hopeless life, and his intention in the book is not ever to find a clean and sober life. That is it's the people in his perimeter that find redemption through his struggle.
Who's this book going to be for, do you think?
Well, this book is going to be for family members who have addicts in their life that are active and they don't know how to deal with them. It's going to be for addicts. I've already had a woman who has bought this book and given it to a lady friend of hers who has given it to her son who is in jail. It's in prison libraries. It's for anybody who wants to have a way out of this life. It's for anybody who has lost all hope. If I can affect one person's life through this book or through this treatment center, then it's a blessing from God to me.
Well, you do say you dedicate the book to people who are battling addiction and to those who are trying to overcome their own obstacles.
Yeah.
Last call, from what I can ascertain, mate, it has a strong spiritual foundation and it draws inspiration from religious teachings, although it's not a religious book, which is summed up really in its recurrent theme. If the Son sets you free, you shall be free indeed.
Yeah, that's kind of
John 8:36, right?
John 8:36. It's a scripture that's kind of become my life scripture quite unintentionally.
Right.
It's a scripture that I use in my podcast. And it really is a string throughout the whole book that we gain freedom in life through faith. So as I said, myself included, when I arrived at the doors of recovery, I had no interest in the relationship with any kind of a God, but I came to understand that of myself, I was not able to achieve freedom and sobriety.
Right. Everybody's burned out with God when you get to that stage.
That's right. Yeah. So
I could tell you stories you wouldn't believe, and I'm guilty of and blamed there. But till you realize it's all your lessons, it's lessons you have to learn the hard way.
It is, and it's really a lot about forgiveness, and the forgiveness begins with forgiving ourselves.
The problem with addiction, of course, it's the people around you that also have to suffer. And, the story also highlights the significant impacts of family and the spiritual direction and the community support. You can be isolated, can't you? This is particularly evident in the acknowledgements, where you indeed in the book express gratitude to mentors from the 12-step program. Pretty heavy. It's probably worldwide the most prolific, isn't it? The 12-step program.
It is, yeah. And the 12-step program is adopted in every aspect of addiction.
Right. And your wife, Teresa.
Yeah.
You're right, for their invaluable contribution to your own path. Everybody's had somebody somewhere to lean on and to help them get through. By the way, this particular site here, this isfruitindeed.com. That's your website.
Correct.
And that's where this book can be bought?
The book is available. Sorry, Mark. The book is available through my website directly, or also at other outlets that can be.
Yeah, which is what the Barnes and Nobles and the Amazons and so on.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kindle. The book is available in print form. It's available as an ebook, and I think probably by the end of this week or next week there'll be an audio book also available up on the website.
Fabulous, good stuff. All right. So, at what point did you realize that your personal journey with alcoholism could become the foundation for a novel?
Well, I always liked I have this huge ego and I always thought, wouldn't my life make a great story? I kind of thought I would have to wait till a lot of people were gone before I could write it to protect the innocent. But I never really thought of it in those terms when I was writing it. Right. In fact,
ego is not a dirty word. You know that, don't you?
No. Well, my ego today is still intact, but it's a bit humbled in some aspects.
So how did alcoholism in the first place, take hold of you in your life?
I started drink. I grew up in a family of drinking. We had sort of functional drinkers, and there was an attitude in my family is if you kept the job and if you supported your family, you could drink till the cows came home. And then my grandfather was a hobo. He was on my mom's side. He was a rail riding down and out alkie. And my dad used to call him a damn dirty alcoholic. His name was Charlie. And so I had a picture in my head that if I wasn't Charlie, I was okay. I started stealing my dad's wine and booze when I was about 12. When I took that first drink, Mark, it was like I was a scared kid for no particular reason, but it was like I was fragmented. And the alcohol was kind of like a magnet for me, and it pulled it together into one piece. And it really was the beginning of my out of control drinking. It was right back there when I was 12.
Wow. Well, I remember that, when we were all young, we want to imitate the adults as well.
Yeah.
And want to be accepted that way. For a lot of people, they get started that way. Well, when I think about it, was it the wine when I was an older boy?
I went down that road too.
Oh dear. So what impact do you think that your addiction, when you look back at it all now, what impact on your immediate family and your close relationships?
Well, we painted a bit of a nice picture of my 4 kids and my 7 grandkids and my great granddaughter at the beginning of the podcast. But the truth is that there's been lots of relational problems with all of my kids. That's not all hanging on my drinking, but a big part of it is.
Big part of it.
Today, my family gatherings, as you said, they were big and they were rambunctious for years and years. But in the last 5 or 6 years, that's slowed down. I really only have a lot of personal contact with one of my daughters and one of my grandsons and my great granddaughter. Mm-hmm. And, I talk about being married to Teresa for 52 years. And I say about half of them were pretty good. And she has to correct me and say it's more like a third. So
52 years, she stuck by you, man. She's worth her weight in gold, as they say, right?
Yeah, she is. And, she suffered through a lot. She put up with a lot. And I think that's part of the thing I wanted to people to understand too, that families don't always stay together after sobriety, but in lots of cases they do. And we were able to forge through our problems together and build a better life in sobriety and freedom.
Well, everybody is different. Everybody's different. How important was it then for you to include all these generational elements in the narrative in your book?
It was important for me because it helped me in the beginning. It was a cathartic thing for me to look at some of the areas in my life growing up that contributed it to me. And also, there's a picture of a lot of different people in the book. So I wanted that family component to be really visible throughout the whole book. And I think I've managed to do that.
Well, now this shot here, this is where and what? Looks like you're singing.
Yeah, part of I am. Yeah. Part of my drinking had to do with my life on the road in a band as well. But that's not it. That's at a church.
That doesn't help, my friend, does it? You know?
No.
But not all bands are druggies or anything else, but
yeah.
It's tough on the road, you know, a tendency to drink. So what is this shot?
This is a shot of through our capacity at the Freedom Project podcast, we sometimes throw little festivals together. We had some big festivals in 2019. COVID kind of put us out on that.
Right.
But this was 3 different groups that I brought together for an evening of Christian music at a church in Perth. And at the end, we all kind of got together and we sang a song. So, yeah,
nice.
we get to stay involved musically a little bit through churches. And
it's good. Music is good. Music is good. His book, it is a tale of redemption. Mm-hmm. Were there parts of the process that, you know, were painful or cathartic, if you like?
Absolutely.
Writing this book?
Absolutely, there was, Mark. It's, you know, when you open up a wound, it hurts. And there was lots of stuff I spent a lot of time in my life trying not to look at, to burying deeply and to run away from. But, you know, I can't go across the room without bumping into a few bits of furniture. And I had to bump into some things from my past that I didn't want to deal with.
Yeah, I was going to say,
areas where I had to make some other amends to people. And it was difficult. But in the end, it was something that was well worth it for me and bringing me that freedom.
But when you're writing a book like this, right, Tale of Redemption in this case, how did you decide which parts of your life to fictionalize and which ones to, you know, stay true?
Yeah. Well, you know, part of that has to do with lots of the characters in the book, and there's a lot of characters. Lots of them are based on people that I've met in my life of sobriety. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people in the book that didn't make it into the book because it would have been just too easy to maybe identify people by the stories that I would tell that I had learned about them. Right. So it was just a bit of discernment. Actually, I prayed, you know, about things I should put in there and things I shouldn't.
Right.
It's not. You know, for me to free myself at the expense of hurting somebody else doesn't work for me. So it was just
the whole thing is to help people at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, you're putting proceeds back into a wonderful cause. Mm-hmm. So it's, you know, was there a moment during the writing? I want to ask you, you know, when something shifted, okay, within yourself, I mean, how you viewed your past?
Yeah. So the whole process of beginning the writing was for me to help me look at my past, because I didn't want to take responsibility for lots of the things in my life that I had done. Mm-hmm. So as a result of writing the words down on paper and mostly the words that didn't make it into the book, I was able to free myself from some of that guilt and shame. And make some amends with people. So, yeah, it changed the way I looked at my past, and it changed the way I hopefully will look at my future.
Let's talk about the characters of the book in the time that we've got left. How did you approach the development of the main character? I mean, is he a direct reflection of you, would you say?
The main character is Tommy Boyle. He's a composite of a bunch of different things, but mostly, honestly, he's a guy that I met, not that guy, but there's a fellow that I met in recovery.
Right.
It's something that we're never supposed to do in recovery. We're never supposed to say, oh, that guy's never going to get sober. That guy's never going to get off the drugs. Right. But I met a guy named Tommy. And God bless you, Tommy. I love you if you ever see this. He became a very good friend. But I made that judgment on him when I met him. I said, this guy's never going to make it. And Tommy's life and his journey kind of affected everybody in his whole sphere of influence. So that was kind of where I actually called him Tommy Boy when I first met him. Right. He's become a very good friend of mine. He still is. I've never actually spoken to him about me using his name.
Oh, you won't mind, mate. He probably will see this. It goes all over the world, you know.
Yeah.
What key message did you hope to convey through these characters? Because, I mean, there are secondary characters that surprised you in how they, evolved. Maybe family members or people impacted by the addiction. Yeah. So what key message, do you hope even through all these characters in the book and their interactions that can help others?
Yeah. Well, each of the characters in the book has defects and attributes. And as the redemption in their lives takes place,
right,
the things that would have been their defects become their attributes. Mm-hmm. And I want people to understand that regardless of what kind of level we've sunk to in our addiction, there still is hope. And each of these characters in the book demonstrates to me that there is a way out of this life of addiction. And that way comes through faith. I never would have found myself saying that at different times in my life.
Right.
But I know now that I believe that there's no one on earth that can't find sobriety, can't get off whatever they're addicted to, if they believe in a higher power that will take them to a place of freedom.
There you go.
So that's really what I wanted to convey through all of the varied characters in the book.
Right. Well, I've got a heck of my life myself, and I'm putting together, what I call my speaking routine when I get a chance to do this. Mm-hmm. And my whole philosophy has been, never give up. All right, no matter what you go through, no matter how low you go, no matter what. And I've been there, but never give up, no matter what it's taken from you or anything else, because you did things you're not proud of. We all are. And, but God is within, you love yourself. If not, you might as well get off the planet, be done with it.
Yeah. As I said earlier, the most important thing is forgiveness. And it is.
I mean, you talk about shame and silence, the stigma factor into the lives of your characters in the book. That's all real. That's what happens in life. And that's what keeps people down. They never get a chance to get up again, because of that reason. So what role, when you really look at it, forgiveness is really on top. It's number one. Both of yourself, both of others, they play an immense, powerful message in this book, don't they? In Last Call,
they absolutely do. And it's another thing I wanted people to understand, that we get to a place when we get beaten down by a drink or a drug where we don't believe we deserve to be forgiven by anybody, let alone ourselves. Mm-hmm. And through the characters in the book, I think I'm able to demonstrate that regardless of what we've done in our path, regardless of what kind of shame we carry, regardless of how our family of origins, sins and flaws may have trickled down and stained us, we can make a simple call for help and ask God, the God of your belief, to lift you out of that mire. And that through that simple act of that simple step of faith, he will lay out some steps in front of you that will become a path that can be the purpose for your life.
What's the podcast name for people to be able to go to you, follow you, maybe contact you? Because you travel all over the place. It's not like you're just in Little Perth in Canada there, right?
No, we move around a little bit. The podcast is called The Freedom Project. It's on YouTube. It's a podcast.
The Freedom Project, right?
The Freedom Project, yeah.
Okay.
And our theme, as you mentioned earlier, is John 8:36. If the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. So I interview people about their personal journeys through addiction into faith. There's lots of other topics that we talk about, but that's kind of the thrust on it is freedom.
Okay, so people can open up and just, generically talk with you. It's like getting counseling online, right?
Yeah, they can contact me through the website or through the podcast. And the interviews, I've interviewed a variety of people. I think there's 140 interviews up there or something like that. And we're doing okay. We got 1,100 followers or something.
Good.
So.
It takes time to build, mate. There's millions of darn videos up there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
The website is https. It's isfreedindeed.com.
That's it.
That is the website where you can order this book directly, or you can go to Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and there's other places you can go to as well. Now, as far as Joe is concerned, you can get him on, it's free indeed, Joseph M4. What about my week? What's myweekly.com? Health, Joseph Anthony Weaver's coming up book. What is that?
What is it? Sorry?
The other link, myweekly.com, myweekly.
Not sure what that one is.
Yeah, another one they gave anyway. YouTube.com. This is the key one, folks, right? YouTube.com/@Freedom Project Podcast. And the @'s important. I use the same thing for Mark Bishop Media. I use to get to mine because there's more Mark Bishops than me. And there's famous Mark Bishops too, and preachers and pastors and God knows what out there. So to get to my darn videos and my channel, you've got to go YouTube /@Mark Bishop Media
absolutely.
Podcasts, you know?
I realize
I just wish there was a lot more, platforms that full shows could go on. Not just YouTube. But anyway, they do a great job. So any last thoughts? Anybody suffering now, watching this, listening, saying, yeah, it's all right for you, mate, but I couldn't do what you did.
Yeah.
Or, because, mate, it's dark down there and very, very
very lonely. You know, when I was at the bottom of my life, and I was still what I would call a functioning alcoholic, but there was no, I didn't believe that I had a problem with drugs or alcohol until the day I actually quit drinking and drugging. But I would tell people out there that regardless of what your situation is or regardless of where you are, I know that in my life, there was no color left in my life. Everything was gray. I had no hope. I had no really desire to go on. I felt as though the only peace I would have would be when it was all over. But then I was able to find some light in that darkness, and it was just a glimmer, and it was just a little piece of myself that I found left. And I called out for help. I said, just please help me out of this mess I'm in. And, little by little, I was able to climb out of that mire. So I would say for people who are in active addiction to just never give up hope, to never stop believing that there's a life for you that is better than where you are and that there is a purpose for you. And I would like to say for people who have family members who have lost an addiction that you have maybe given up on, you've tried everything and there's nothing left. Just keep praying for them. Pray for them to have the miracle. You know, I've witnessed the miracle of recovery in thousands upon thousands of people in my life. And I know that can happen for you out there if you're struggling and listening. So reach out, ask for help. I can guarantee you that there's someone within 100 yards of you who has some way to get you into a recovery program. You just got to ask for the help.
You just got to ask and don't feel ashamed to do it. You know, you need that.
Amen.
I've got your email. Should I give it out?
Sure.
Joe Weber 717 at AOL.com.
That's me.
That's you. What was it, Mark? Joe, Joe Weber, Weber, not Weber, Weber, 1B, 717 at AOL.com.
AOL.com. And I just look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah.
And, no matter where you are in the world, I'll be able to steer you to somewhere where you get help.
Fantastic. Mate, you've been a pleasure to interview. Congratulations on what you've done with your life and what you're doing for others. And I hope the book's a ripper for you. The last call.
Thank you so much, Mark, for the opportunity to sit and talk with you and for promoting my book in the Manny Daniels Center. And I look forward to engaging with you again in the future real soon.
Good. I look forward to it. Thank you. Goodbye now.
Take care.
Okay. I wonder where my other little one has gone. Is it this one here? Yes, it is. No, it's not. Stay around too, by the way. I want to make sure we download, okay? Don't go anywhere. I've learned that lesson the hard way. All righty. Thank you, Joe Weber. Joseph Weber, full correct name, and a wonderful book, Last Call. All righty. I hope you enjoyed this one. We've gone over time a little bit, but not to worry. Nothing like a good book here continually. If you know any authors, let me know. It's affordable. And, great coverage that goes all over the place. There's many, I think it's 11 audio social podcast platforms alone. Then you've got the video podcast platforms. You've got YouTube on my channel. We even go overseas, India, Indonesia, God knows, all over the place. And LinkedIn and, Facebook/Meta, or is it Meta/Facebook these days? X, whatever, So, and we care about authors, and that's what we're about. And I'm contactable until my new site is up and the new email is up. Just mark@markbishopmedia.com. That'll get to me. And anything, got an idea for a show you'd like to do? Yeah, let me know, because I love producing too, okay? Thank you for being with us, and I really look forward to next time that you join me, okay?